Welcome to the Tech News. Today's program will be about the controversial topic NAFTA.
Now we are going to explain what has happened with NAFTA 24 years later. North American Free Trade Agreement (NAFTA) went into effect on January 1st of 1994. It was promised that this would create millions of jobs. This was supposed to help corporations to outsource jobs to Mexico and beneficiate many countries. 24 years later, there have been many people who lost their jobs and they are not happy with it. Inequality has increased in Mexico and the United States, and Mexican wages decreased 9% since NAFTA creation. The reason of this is that this trade makes that more companies establish in Mexico, and many North American people doesn't support this idea. Donald Trump wants to modify NAFTA to benefit USA workers, but this will not stop companies from moving jobs to Mexico because this is cheaper. It is not, and it will never be acceptable that NAFTA allows North Americans to move their enterprises to Mexico just to avoid taxes and pay them less. And this is even worse because they do not care of the environment. It is not, and it will never be acceptable that NAFTA allows North Americans to move their enterprises to Mexico just to avoid taxes and pay them less. And this is even worse because they do not care of the environment.
Well, now let's talk about the economic outlook of our country. The GDP is in recession. In Peña Nieto's presidency, 2014, the GDP had its highest point, with $1.298 trillion, but in 2015 it has decreased to $1.152 trillion, and in 2016 to $1.47 trillion, according to the World Bank database. For this year, the national automotive industry has a record of exportations. The NAFTA is being negotiating, and according to David Paramo, the offers are very good. Also, the free market is growing, so the gas price. The inflation has reached 6%, but it is said that it will decrease. This year is predicted that it will continue to low with a minimum of 1%. This year, the basic products price will be high because Mexico will be exporting the national products as priority. It will arrange to the Mexican economy. The processed food will have inflation too. Actually, Mexico is the third country with most inflation in processed products. This year, INEGI will change how the inflation is measured, and this will probably tend to go up according to David Paramo. At the end of this year, the economy is going to have 2.2% to 2.3% growth. And finally, the next presidency is going to be the first time that it has no economic downturn.
In other news, in case that the President Donald Trump fulfilled with his threat of abolishing the NAFTA, the economy of Canada, the USA, and Mexico would be affected. Why? The NAFTA would provoke a loss of value in imports and exports of the three countries involved on the treaty. Although the country that would be most affected is Mexico. Policies estimating the cost from the resignation of USA in the NAFTA, it measures that Mexico will lose 0.9 percentage points from the PIB in 2019, with a concentration of 0.9 on the exports and 0.8 on the imports. Besides of the concentration of the PIB, the output of USA could have a negative impact of the 8% in the weight and 9% on the Mexican stock exchange, and a raise of 3 percentage points on the inflation. On 2022, the decision of Trump would decrease 2% the Mexican economy.
Sí, ya puedes empezar.
1, 2, 3. Donald Trump is a real risk for Mexican economy since he was in campaign. The volatile market has suffered down because of the uncertain future for the country. Now, his threats are real converted into new taxes and renegotiations. Now, Mexico must look forward for new strategies, treaties, and alliances. This is way to solve this problem is the commerce with South America and China. Supposedly, we should use our ocean to expand our commerce. There have been few developments in their renegotiations. Some of them are small and medium companies and telecommunications. Midan and Naya will continue the negotiations just as they are flowing. They would like to find a middle term that benefits the three countries. But AMLO is uncertain in this term. He could get down the negotiations and use alternative of South America and China.